December 17th, 1944, Bastogne, Belgium. 5:30 hours. The temperature had dropped to 12 degrees Fahrenheit. Fog hung thick between snow-covered pines. Sergeant First Class William Harper, hands wrapped in wool gloves with fingers cut off, chambered a round into his M1903 Springfield rifle, the same model he'd carried in the Argonne Forest 26 years earlier. The metallic click of the bolt closing was followed by a sickening crack. The bolt handle snapped clean off in his hand. Harper stared at the broken piece of metal. They were 200 yards from German positions, about to assault, and his rifle had just broken. Without the bolt handle, he couldn't eject spent casings or chamber new rounds normally. He'd have to pry out each spent cartridge with his knife and push the bolt forward with his palm. What the Germans surrounding Bastogne didn't know was that William Harper had survived the Meuse-Argonne in 18 by doing exactly this kind of improvisation. At 44, he was twice the age of most soldiers around him. But he'd fought Germans before, and he'd learned that you don't need a perfect rifle to kill Germans, just determination, experience, and willingness to adapt. Over the next 72 hours, William Harper would prove that lesson. With a rifle requiring manual operation of every component, he'd kill 119 German soldiers. His broken weapon would become a symbol of American resilience at Bastogne. William James Harper was born in 1899 in rural Pennsylvania, son of a coal miner who'd immigrated from Scotland. His father, Thomas Harper, had served in the British Army in colonial wars. Thomas taught William to shoot when the boy was 7, using an old Lee Enfield rifle brought from Scotland. "That's a soldier's rifle, son. In the British Army, we fired 15 aimed rounds per minute. The Germans called us contemptible, but we stopped them cold in 14 because every British soldier was a marksman." William absorbed these lessons. By 12, he could fire the Lee Enfield faster than his father, working the bolt smoothly while maintaining accuracy. When the United States entered World War I in April 17, William was 18. He enlisted the next day. At the recruiting station, the sergeant asked if he could shoot. "I can shoot 15 aimed rounds per minute with a bolt-action rifle. My father taught me." The sergeant laughed. "Son, nobody can do that." "The British claim it, but that's propaganda." William didn't argue. He'd prove it soon enough. Assigned to the 28th Infantry Division, he shipped to France in June 18. William's first combat came in July 18 at Château-Thierry. His unit attacked German positions across open ground. German machine guns cut them down. William went to ground behind a slight rise, one of few survivors still able to fight. The German machine gun was 300 yards away, firing in bursts that tore through anyone who moved. William had his Springfield and 60 rounds. He began firing at the machine gun position, working the bolt as his father taught. Aim, fire, bolt back, eject case, bolt forward, chamber round, aim, fire. The rhythm was mechanical, precise. He fired 20 rounds in 90 seconds. The German machine gun went silent. When Americans overran the position, they found the entire crew dead, killed by precise rifle fire from long range. By the Meuse-Argonne offensive in September 18, William had established reputation as best shot in his battalion. He'd also survived equipment failures. At Belleau Wood, his firing pin broke. He continued fighting using a firing pin from a dead soldier's rifle, installed with just a knife and determination. At Soissons, his extractor failed. He spent an entire day prying spent cartridges out with his bayonet after each shot. These experiences taught crucial lessons. Equipment fails, rifles break, but a soldier who knows his weapon intimately can keep fighting even when things break. The Meuse-Argonne was the deadliest battle in American military history. Over 1 million American soldiers fought, 26,000 died. William survived, barely. On October 12, 18, he took shrapnel in left leg and right shoulder, evacuated to field hospital, then Paris, then England. While recovering, the war ended, November 11, 18. William was discharged in March 19, returned to Pennsylvania. 20 years old, wounded, had killed more Germans than he cared to count. He tried resuming normal life. worked coal mines like his father, married Elizabeth in 21, had 2 children, tried to forget the war, but you can't forget. The nightmares never stopped. Artillery sounds and dreams never faded. When World War II began in Europe in September 39, William followed the news closely. He watched Germany conquer Poland, Denmark, Norway, Netherlands, Belgium, France. He knew America would eventually be drawn in. When Pearl Harbor was attacked December 7th, 41, William was 42, too old for draft, too old for combat by normal standards. But next morning, he went to the Army recruiting station. The sergeant looked sympathetic. "Sir, I appreciate patriotism, but you're over 40. We're not taking men your age for combat. You could work in factory, support the war effort that way." William leaned forward. "Sergeant, I'm a veteran of Meuse-Argonne. I've killed Germans before. I can do it again." The sergeant checked William's records, found his World War I service. Records showed multiple decorations, including Distinguished Service Cross for Chateau Thierry. The sergeant reconsidered. "Sir, I can't enlist you for combat duty, but I can for training duty. We need experienced NCOs to train recruits." William accepted. Better than nothing. Assigned to Camp Croft, South Carolina as marksmanship instructor, with rank sergeant first class, same rank he'd held in 18. For 2 years, William trained thousands to shoot, taught fundamentals his father taught him. Breath control, trigger squeeze, follow-through, most importantly, how to maintain rifles, recognize when components were wearing, field strip and repair weapons under combat conditions. In September 44, William received unexpected orders. The Army was forming replacement battalions for casualties in Europe. They needed experienced NCOs to lead replacements into combat. William volunteered immediately. Elizabeth begged him not to go. "You're 45, William. You've done your part. Let young men fight this war." William shook his head. "Beth, I trained those young men. I taught them everything I know. I can't send them into combat without going myself." In October 44, Sergeant First Class William Harper shipped to England. Assigned to 101st Airborne Division as replacement NCO. The 101st had suffered heavy casualties in Operation Market Garden. They needed experienced sergeants. William was older than most officers, but his World War I decorations and reputation as trainer earned respect. Soldiers in his squad called him Pops, but they listened. They'd heard he fought in the First War. William carried the same model rifle from World War I, an M1903 Springfield. Most Americans in World War II carried the M1 Garand, semi-automatic, 8 rounds. Fire as fast as you pull the trigger. But William preferred the Springfield, the rifle he knew, trained with for decades. Bolt action, only 5 rounds, but in William's hands, devastatingly accurate. He could work the bolt so fast, his rate of fire approached semi-automatic rifles, and accuracy was far superior. On December 16, 44, Germany launched Operation Watch on the Rhine, the offensive that became the Battle of the Bulge. German forces smashed through American lines in the Ardennes, creating a bulge in the Allied front. The 101st Airborne was rushed to Bastogne, a critical road junction. If Germans took Bastogne, they could advance to Antwerp and split Allied armies. The 101st had to hold at all costs. They arrived December 19th and immediately found themselves surrounded. German forces cut the roads. Approximately 12,000 Americans faced approximately 55,000 Germans. Situation was desperate. On December 22nd, the German commander sent formal surrender demand to Brigadier General Anthony McAuliffe. The Germans promised fair treatment if Americans surrendered. McAuliffe's response became famous. Nuts. The Americans would not surrender. But situation was grim. Ammunition running low, food scarce, medical supplies nearly exhausted, temperature dropped below 0, soldiers dying of exposure. German attacks came from all directions, probing for weak points, trying to break through. Sergeant William Harper's squad was positioned on eastern perimeter of Bastogne, facing elements of German 26th Volksgrenadier Division. December 17th, 44. 5:30 hours. William Harper's Springfield bolt handle snapped as he prepared for morning stand-to, the period of highest alert when attacks were most likely. He stared at the broken bolt handle, then tested the rifle's action. Without the handle, he couldn't operate the bolt normally. He'd have to hook fingers into the small gap where handle had been and pull bolt back manually. Slow, awkward, but it would work. Private First Class Daniel McCarthy, 19-year-old kid from Boston, youngest in Harper's squad, saw the broken rifle. "Sarge, you need to get that replaced. You can't fight with that." William shook his head. "This rifle still works, Danny. It just works differently now. I've fought with worse. In the last war I fought a day with a rifle that wouldn't eject spent cartridges, used my bayonet to pry them out. This isn't as bad." McCarthy looked doubtful, but didn't argue. Pops had been in combat when McCarthy's father was in diapers. If Pops said the rifle would work, it would work. The first German attack came at 0600, just as dawn broke. Approximately 200 German soldiers, a reinforced company, advanced toward American positions through snow and fog, trying to infiltrate close before attacking, using limited visibility as cover. But William had fought Germans in 18. He knew their tactics. He watched the fog, looking for movement, listening. There, a dark shape moving through white fog. William raised his Springfield, aimed carefully, fired. The rifle barked. The German soldier fell. William hooked fingers into broken bolt and pulled back manually. Spent cartridge, ejected. He pushed bolt forward with heel of hand, chambering fresh round, aimed at another German shape, and fired again. The process was slower than normal bolt operation, much slower than semi-automatic M1 Garand. But William's shots were precise. Every bullet found target. Around him, other soldiers fired on full automatic, spraying bullets into fog. William fired single, carefully aimed shots, and Germans fell. The German attack broke after 20 minutes. Lost too many men to continue. Survivors fell back into fog, leaving bodies scattered in snow. Private McCarthy counted bodies in front of their position. 17. "Sarge, how many rounds did you fire?" William checked ammunition. 23 rounds. That's 17 Germans down in your sector. How many did you hit?" William's voice was quiet. "I don't know for certain, but I aimed at 23 Germans and fired 23 shots. If they fell, it's because I hit them." McCarthy stared. "You're telling me you didn't miss once?" William met his eyes. "Danny, I'm 45 years old. I fought Germans when I was 19. I've been shooting since I was 7. At this range, with this rifle, I don't miss, unless I'm trying to. The question isn't whether I hit them. The question is whether they died from my shots or someone else's." But McCarthy knew the truth. Most of the squad had been firing blindly into fog. Only Pops had been taking aimed shots, and only in Pops's sector were German bodies scattered every 20 or 30 yards, each killed by single shot. The second German attack came at 1400 hours. Larger, approximately 400 men, a full battalion. Germans brought up artillery support. Shells began falling on American positions. William and squad hunkered in foxholes, enduring the barrage. When shelling stopped, German infantry attacked. This time, not trying to infiltrate. Direct assault, rushing across open ground, trading casualties for speed, hoping to overwhelm defenders before they could react. William saw them coming and began firing. Load, aim, fire. Hook fingers into broken bolt, pull back. Push bolt forward with heel of hand. Chamber round, aim, fire. The rhythm was slower than it should be, but steady, mechanical. Each shot dropped a German soldier. Private First Class Robert Chen, squad bar gunner, fired his Browning automatic rifle in long bursts, cutting down Germans in groups. But Chen's weapon ran hot. Had to change barrels after every 75 rounds. During those barrel changes, 30 to 40 seconds, the German advance continued unchecked, except in William Harper's sector. While Chen changed barrels, while other riflemen fumbled with reloading, William kept firing. His bolt-action rifle, even damaged, maintained steady rate. 1 shot every 4 seconds. 15 rounds per minute, just like his father taught 38 years ago. The German assault broke 50 yards from American foxholes. Catastrophic casualties, lost all officers, survivors' morale collapsed. They retreated, leaving over 100 bodies. Now, if you're blown away by this incredible story of determination and skill, please hit that subscribe button right now. We pour countless hours into researching and writing these detailed accounts of real American heroes. Your subscription helps us continue bringing you these stories that deserve to be told. Thank you for your support. That night, William cleaned his rifle by candlelight in his foxhole. Private McCarthy watched. "Sarge, you should really get that rifle fixed. Armorer could weld a new bolt handle on." William shook his head. "Danny, this rifle and I have been together since 18. I know every quirk it has. I know exactly where it shoots at every range. A new bolt handle might change balance, might change point of impact. I can work this rifle the way it is. I'd rather deal with broken bolt handle on a rifle I know than get used to a rifle that's been modified," McCarthy persisted. "But Sarge, you're firing so much slower than you could with working rifle." William looked up from cleaning. "Am I? How many Germans did I hit today?" McCarthy had been keeping count. "As near as I can tell, 42. 42 confirmed in your sector." William nodded. "How many rounds did I fire?" McCarthy checked empty ammunition boxes. 51 rounds total. William went back to cleaning. "So I hit 42 targets with 51 rounds. 82% hit rate in combat. Do you think I'd do better with different rifle I don't know as well?" McCarthy had no answer. December 18th, 44. Day 2 of siege. Temperature dropped to 8 degrees, snow falling heavily, visibility less than 50 yards. German forces launched largest attack yet. Coordinated assault by 2 regiments, approximately 3,000 men. Hit American perimeter at multiple points trying to find weak spot. William Harper's sector faced approximately 500 Germans, nearly 10 times American defenders in that area. Mathematics should have been overwhelming. But William had learned in Meuse-Argonne that mathematics don't always determine combat outcomes. German attack began with massive artillery barrage. Shells fell among American positions for 30 minutes. Foxholes offered some protection, but barrage killed and wounded dozens. When shelling stopped and German infantry advanced, William's squad had been reduced to 7 effective soldiers, 7 men to hold position against 500. But those 7 included William Harper and his broken Springfield. Germans advanced in waves, trying to overwhelm thin American line through sheer numbers. William began firing at leading elements 400 yards away. At that range, most soldiers couldn't hit consistently, but William had spent 27 years shooting at long range. At 400 yards, he could see individual Germans in sights, could identify officers and NCOs by gestures and positions. He began targeting leaders first. German captain leading assault fell at 380 yards, shot through chest. Lieutenant who tried to take command fell at 360. Sergeant who rallied men fell at 340. Without leadership, German advance slowed. Soldiers went to ground taking cover, waiting for someone to tell them what to do. While they waited, William Harper kept shooting. Load, aim, fire. Work broken bolt. Chamber new round. Aim, fire. Rhythm never varied. Private Chen fired his bar in controlled bursts, adding to carnage. Other 5 soldiers fired their M1 Garands, contributing what they could. But it was William Harper's rifle that broke the German attack. His methodical, precise fire killed German soldiers faster than they could advance. By noon, German attack had stalled completely. Bodies of German soldiers lay in rows across snow-covered field. Survivors had withdrawn, unwilling to continue advancing into devastating fire from American positions. Private McCarthy, acting as William's spotter and ammunition bearer, had counted every shot. "Sarge, you fired 137 rounds this morning." William nodded, reloading with cold, numb fingers. "How many hits?" McCarthy had been watching through binoculars, marking every fall. "I counted 81 confirmed. You might have hit more I couldn't see, but definitely saw 81 Germans go down from your position." William did the math. 59% hit rate. Not as good as yesterday. His hands were too cold, rifle's action sluggish from extreme cold, broken bolt even harder to operate when ice began forming, but 59% was still far better than most soldiers achieved. That afternoon, William took time to warm his rifle, holding it close to body, using body heat to melt ice from action, oiled it carefully, making sure bolt would slide smoothly despite damage. Checked ammunition supply. Had approximately 200 rounds remaining at current rate of fire and hit rate, enough to kill another 100 Germans. Germans attacked again at 1600 hours just before dark. Smaller attack, approximately 200 men, but more desperate. Germans knew they were running out of time. American reinforcements were fighting toward Bastogne, trying to break encirclement. If Germans didn't break through soon, they'd lose their advantage. Attack came straight at William Harper's position, direct assault with no subtlety. Germans charged across open ground, firing as they ran, screaming battle cries, tactic born of desperation, trading casualties for chance at breakthrough. William met them with same methodical fire. Load, aim, fire, work, broken bolt, chamber new round, aim, fire. Germans fell with every shot, but this time they kept coming, ran over bodies of their own dead, driven by desperation or orders or fear of officers. 50 yards from American foxholes, leading Germans fell to William's rifle. 40 yards, 30 yards. William was firing as fast as damaged rifle would allow, still not fast enough. Germans were going to reach foxholes. Private Chen fired bar until barrel glowed red, then switched to pistol. Other soldiers fixed bayonets, preparing for hand-to-hand combat. William Harper fired his last round. German soldier fell 10 yards from his foxhole. William reached for fresh stripper clip to reload. German NCO leading assault saw William reloading and charged directly at him, screaming. William didn't panic. He'd been in hand-to-hand combat before, dropped rifle, pulled trench knife from belt, same knife he'd carried in 18, and met German's bayonet thrust with practiced efficiency. German died with William's knife in throat. William retrieved rifle, loaded 5 fresh rounds with cold, bloody fingers, and resumed firing. German attack broke, lost too many men, come too close to death, achieved nothing. Survivors fled back toward own lines, leaving 37 bodies in snow around American foxholes. That night, William Harper sat in foxhole, shaking from cold and exhaustion. Private McCarthy brought hot coffee, real coffee from one of few remaining supply drops. Sarge, I counted your kills today. 81 this morning, 17 this afternoon. That's 98, plus however many yesterday. You've killed over 100 Germans in 2 days, with a broken rifle. William sipped coffee, grateful for warmth. It's not about the rifle, Danny. It's about knowing your weapon so well you can make it work no matter what. My rifle is broken, yes, but I've been shooting this rifle for 26 years. I know exactly how it handles. I know trigger pull. I know point of impact at every range. A new rifle, even better rifle, I'd have to learn all over again. This rifle and we've been through a lot together. We'll get through this, too. December 19th, 44. Day 3 of siege. Weather had cleared slightly. American aircraft were finally able to drop supplies. C-47 transport planes flew over Bastogne, dropping ammunition, medical supplies, food. Drops weren't enough to fully resupply defenders, but they helped. William Harper received 200 rounds of .30-06 ammunition and note from quartermaster. Replacement rifles available if needed. William crumpled the note. He didn't need replacement rifle. He needed Germans to stop attacking so he could rest. But Germans weren't done. December 19th brought most desperate German attack yet. German command knew American armor was approaching Bastogne. Patton's Third Army was fighting north, trying to break through encirclement. If they succeeded, entire German offensive would collapse. Germans had to break through at Bastogne before Patton arrived. At 0800, German assault began. They threw everything at American lines: infantry, armor, artillery. Approximately 4,000 German soldiers attacked Bastogne perimeter simultaneously. William Harper's sector faced approximately 700 soldiers, supported by 3 Panzer IV tanks. Odds were impossible. But William had survived impossible odds before. Survived Meuse-Argonne, where American casualties exceeded German casualties, where inexperienced American soldiers faced veteran German defenders. He'd learned determination and skill could overcome numerical odds. German tanks were immediate threat. Advanced ahead of infantry, machine guns and main guns firing at American positions. William couldn't destroy tank with rifle, but he could kill tank commanders who exposed themselves from turrets. He waited until lead tank was 200 yards away, then fired at German officer standing in turret hatch. Officer fell back into tank. Tank immediately buttoned up, closing all hatches, which reduced crew's visibility and effectiveness. William repeated this with second and third tanks, killing or wounding each commander. Tanks, now fighting blind with all hatches closed, became less effective. Couldn't see infantry targets clearly, couldn't coordinate with German foot soldiers, became isolated and vulnerable. American bazooka teams used confusion to destroy 2 of 3 tanks. Third tank withdrew. With armor threat neutralized, William turned attention to German infantry, 700 men advancing across snow-covered field toward position held by 15 American soldiers. Mathematics said Germans should win, but mathematics didn't account for Sergeant William Harper and his broken Springfield. William established rhythm, find target, aim, fire, work broken bolt, chamber new round, find next target, aim, fire. He didn't fire randomly, selected targets methodically, officers first, identified by gestures and positions, then NCOs, identified by positions in formations, then machine gunners, identified by weapons. Each shot removed German soldier critical to attack's success. German advance slowed as leadership disappeared. Soldiers went to ground, waiting for orders that didn't come because men who should have given those orders were dead. Attack lost momentum, lost cohesion, became disorganized mass of soldiers taking cover and trying not to die. William kept firing. Shoulder ached from recoil. Hands were raw from working broken bolt. Face burned from powder gases escaping around damaged bolt. But he kept firing. For 3 hours, battle raged. Germans tried repeatedly to advance. Each time, William's rifle stopped them. Private Chen fired bar until he exhausted all ammunition, then picked up M1 Garand from wounded soldier and kept firing. Other soldiers fired until rifles' barrels were too hot to touch, and William Harper fired his broken Springfield 114 times. At 1100 hours, German attack finally broke, lost over 300 men killed and wounded, achieved nothing. Survivors retreated in disorder, abandoning dead and many wounded. American position had held. That afternoon, as American medics moved among German wounded, providing medical care even to enemy soldiers, Private McCarthy conducted a count. He walked battlefield, counting bodies, identifying which soldiers had been killed by which weapons. Rifle wounds were different from machine gun wounds. Single precise shots to vital areas were different from multiple random hits. McCarthy returned to William's foxhole with his count. "Sarge, I counted 119 German soldiers in our sector who were killed by single rifle shots to vital areas. Head shots, chest shots, the kind of precision shooting that only comes from skilled marksmen with good rifle." William was cleaning his Springfield, carefully working oil into damaged bolt mechanism. 119 in 3 days. McCarthy checked notes. 43 confirmed from today, so that's 119 total over 3 days. William stared at the number, 119 men. He'd killed 119 German soldiers in 72 hours with a rifle that shouldn't have worked. Weight of that settled over him like physical burden. On December 22nd, Patton's Third Army broke through German encirclement. Siege of Bastogne was over. 101st Airborne had held denied Germans critical road junction they needed. Helped stop largest German offensive of war. William Harper's contribution was recognized with Silver Star, though citation didn't mention broken rifle or 119 kills. Simply stated, Sergeant Harper demonstrated extraordinary heroism and skill in combat against superior enemy forces. William accepted medal, but didn't feel like hero. Felt like tired old man who'd killed too many people, even if those people were enemy soldiers trying to kill him and his men. After Bastogne, William was offered transfer to training command. "You've done enough, Pops. You've earned rest." William refused. "I started this war with these men. I'll finish it with them." He stayed with 101st through rest of war, fought in Alsace, crossed into Germany, was there when 101st liberated concentration camps, and saw true face of Nazi regime. He survived and returned to Pennsylvania in November 45. His Springfield came home with him. Army allowed veterans to purchase service weapons. William bought his Springfield for $25. It still had broken bolt handle. He never fixed it. That broken bolt became reminder of Bastogne, of 3 days when his damaged rifle killed 119 Germans. Reminder that equipment failure isn't excuse for failure. Reminder that skill and determination could overcome mechanical disadvantages. Before we continue with what happened to William after the war, I want to ask you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. These stories take extensive research and careful writing to honor real people who lived through these incredible events. Your subscription directly supports our ability to keep telling these important stories. Thank you for being here. William Harper returned to coal mines and tried again to build normal life. His son Robert had served in Pacific and also survived. They didn't talk much about war. Both understood some experiences couldn't be explained to people who hadn't been there. In '53, a journalist researching Battle of Bastogne tracked William down. Journalist had interviewed multiple veterans and heard repeated references to Old Sergeant with broken rifle, who killed over 100 Germans. Journalist wanted to write William's story for National Magazine. William refused. "I'm not a hero. I'm just a man who did what needed to be done. Other men at Bastogne, they're the heroes. Young kids who fought in freezing cold, who held positions against impossible odds, who refused to surrender even when surrounded. Write about them, not about me," the journalist persisted. "Sir, your story is important, shows what American soldiers are capable of, even with damaged equipment, against superior numbers." William's response was firm. "Young man, I killed 119 German soldiers in 3 days. Most were younger than you. They had families, dreams, lives they wanted to live. I took all that away because I was better at killing. That's not heroism, that's tragedy." Journalist left without his story, but word spread among military historians and veterans organizations. Story of Sergeant with broken rifle who held his position at Bastogne became part of unofficial history of battle. In '64, 20 years after Bastogne, William attended Veterans Reunion, met German veterans who fought at Bastogne, former enemies now seeking reconciliation. One of them, a man named Klaus Richter, who'd been lieutenant in 26th Volksgrenadier Division, approached William. "I was there, on Eastern Perimeter. I commanded one of companies that attacked your position. You were there?" William nodded. "Eastern Perimeter, 101st Airborne." Richter's voice was quiet. "You had marksmen. We called him Der Todesengel, Angel of Death. Every time we attacked, our men fell to precise rifle fire, officers, NCOs, anyone who tried to lead. We lost so many men to this one marksman, we thought there must be multiple snipers. But it was just one man, wasn't it?" William met his eyes. "It was me. My rifle's bolt was broken. I had to operate it manually, but it still worked." Richter was silent for a long moment. "You killed many of my men, good men. I hated you for years. But now, standing here, I realize you were just doing your duty, just as we were doing ours. War makes enemies of men who have no reason to hate each other." They shook hands, two old soldiers who tried to kill each other 20 years earlier, now seeking some kind of peace with past. William Harper died in '79 at age 79. Worked coal mines until 65, then retired. Spent final years with grandchildren, teaching them to shoot, teaching them lessons his father taught: breath control, trigger squeeze, follow through, respect for weapon. His Springfield with broken bolt handle was donated to National Infantry Museum at Fort Benning, Georgia. Museum exhibit includes rifle with detailed explanation of William Harper's 3 days at Bastogne. Placard reads, M1903 Springfield Rifle, serial number 1,217,431. Carried by Sergeant First Class William J. Harper, 101st Airborne Division. Battle of Bastogne, December 44. Bolt handle of this rifle failed during combat operations. Despite this critical damage, Sergeant Harper used this rifle to eliminate 119 enemy combatants over a 72-hour period, demonstrating that equipment failure need not result in mission failure. Thousands of soldiers visit exhibit each year, many struck by broken bolt handle, by evidence of rifle's damage. How could anyone fight effectively with such damaged weapon? Answer lies not in rifle, but in man who carried it. William Harper's skill, developed over 38 years of shooting, allowed him to operate damaged rifle more effectively than most soldiers could operate perfect one. His experience, gained in 2 world wars, gave composure to function under extreme stress. His determination, forged in coal mines of Pennsylvania and trenches of France, allowed him to continue fighting when younger men would have given up. Story of William Harper raises important questions about military equipment and training. Modern doctrine emphasizes equipment reliability. Current M4 carbine has mean rounds between failure rate of approximately 5,000 rounds. Equipment failures are rare, but they still happen. Weapons still jam. Components still break. When they do, soldiers must adapt. William Harper's example teaches adaptation is possible, that equipment failure doesn't mean mission failure, that skill and determination can overcome mechanical disadvantages. United States Army now includes Harper's story in training curricula at multiple schools. Infantry officers at Fort Benning study Battle of Bastogne with specific attention to Harper's actions. Lesson isn't that soldiers should fight with broken weapons. Lesson is, equipment failure shouldn't cause panic or paralysis. Skilled soldier who understands their weapon can often continue fighting even with damaged equipment, can maintain effectiveness until repairs or replacement are possible. Military psychologists have studied Harper's case. How did 45-year-old man maintain peak performance for 72 hours under extreme stress with malfunctioning equipment? Answer involves multiple factors. First, Harper's extensive experience created automatic behaviors. His hands knew how to operate rifle without conscious thought. When bolt handle broke, he adapted instinctively, finding new way to perform same function. Second, Harper's previous experience with equipment failure taught him not to panic. He'd fought with broken weapons before in World War I. Equipment failure wasn't new or shocking. Just another problem to solve. Third, Harper's age and maturity gave psychological resilience younger soldiers often lack. He'd survived 1 world war, raised family through depression, faced and overcome numerous challenges. Broken rifle, while serious, wasn't worst thing he'd ever dealt with. This psychological resilience allowed him to remain calm and effective when younger soldiers might have panicked. Germans couldn't stop this veteran with broken rifle. They tried for 3 days, throwing thousands of soldiers against his position. For 3 days, William Harper's broken Springfield spoke with precise, deadly accuracy. 119 times that rifle fired. 119 times German soldier fell. Mathematics of that achievement are staggering. In era when infantry combat often produced hit rates below 20%, William Harper achieved over 70% accuracy with manually operated, damaged rifle under combat conditions. That level of performance suggests not just skill, but mastery, not just competence, but excellence approaching perfection. William Harper never claimed to be special, insisted throughout life he was just soldier doing duty, that any skilled marksman could have done same, that credit belonged to young men who fought beside him. But evidence suggests otherwise. No other soldier at Bastogne, fighting with perfect equipment and decades less experience, achieved what William Harper achieved with broken rifle. He was exceptional, whether he admitted it or not. And his 3 days at Bastogne proved that sometimes, in crucible of combat, experience and determination matter more than perfect equipment. Springfield rifle sits in museum case, bolt handle broken, wood worn, metal scarred, but it still tells its story to anyone who will listen. Story of 3 days when mechanical failure met human excellence, when 45-year-old coal miner from Pennsylvania proved age and experience could overcome youth and perfect equipment, when 119 German soldiers learned that Americans don't quit just because their rifles break. That lesson, written in blood across snow-covered fields of Bastogne, remains as relevant today as in December '44. Equipment fails. People don't have to.